My friends, tonight I tell you a great secret, a truth hidden in plain sight, waiting only for the one who dares to believe. Faith, your faith, is the master key to all that you seek, the key that unlocks the treasures of heaven and brings them into form. Without faith, the door remains shut, but with it, all things are possible. Faith is not mere hope, not a passive wish for something to come. Faith is the certainty, the knowing, the unwavering conviction that what you have asked for is already yours. It is the bridge between the unseen and the seen, the formless and the formed. The world you experience is not shaped by circumstance, but by the state of your belief. You do not beg for blessings, you claim them. And when you claim them with conviction, the world must yield to your command. To live in faith is to see beyond what the eyes perceive, to hear beyond what the ears detect, to feel the reality of your desire before it takes form. When you walk by faith, you do not wait for evidence, you become the evidence. You assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and in that assumption the universe bends to make it so. This is not theory, this is law. There is no greater power than faith in the unseen, for what is unseen is the very substance of creation. The moment you accept that what you seek is already yours, the moment you rest in the assurance of its presence, it begins to materialize. You do not need to force it, for faith is not struggle, faith is surrender. It is resting in the knowledge that God's abundance is already flowing to you. Doubt is the only thief. It is the shadow that creeps in to steal your blessings. But the one who holds fast to faith, who refuses to waver, who does not ask when or how, but instead gives thanks as if the gift is already in hand, this is the one who moves mountains. For the world outside is only a reflection of the world within. Align your inner world with the certainty of divine abundance, and the outer world will have no choice but to reflect it. Do not wait for circumstances to change before you believe. Believe, and the circumstances must change. Act as if you are already blessed, and you will see blessings overflow in ways you could never have imagined. Faith is the only currency in the kingdom of God, the only key that unlocks the limitless storehouse of divine supply. Now, dare to believe, and it shall be so. Faith is not a mere word, not a passive thought, not something to be entertained only in moments of comfort. It is a living force, an unshakable power that shapes your reality. The unseen foundation of the world is built upon it. Everything you now experience, everything that has ever been made manifest in your life, is the result of faith. Whether it was faith in the good or faith in the bad, faith in abundance or faith in lack. For faith does not discriminate. It simply brings forth into reality that which you truly believe. Look around you. Every condition, every circumstance, every possession or lack thereof is the direct outgrowth of the ideas you have accepted as true. The moment you understand this, you realize that the key to transformation is not found in struggle or external effort, but in the unseen realm of belief. If you wish to change anything in your life, you must first change what you accept as true within yourself. The world is only a mirror reflecting back to you the sum total of your assumptions. You may say, but I have prayed, I have asked, I have waited, and still my blessings have not come. And I tell you, you have waited because you have doubted. You have waited because though you have spoken words of faith, in your heart you have entertained fear. You have begged for what you already possess, and in that act of begging, you have confirmed its absence. But faith does not beg. It claims. Faith does not hope, it knows. Faith does not wonder, it assumes. There is no power outside of you that decides when and how you shall be blessed. You yourself are the vessel through which divine abundance flows. You are the channel, the doorway, the means by which the infinite takes shape. God does not withhold blessings. It is only the divided mind, the uncertain heart, that blocks their manifestation. When you align with the truth that all you desire is already yours, the floodgates open. When you cease to question, when you cease to wonder, when you instead live and breathe the reality of your wish fulfilled, Then and only then does it take form. Consider the farmer who plants a seed. He does not dig it up each day to check if it is growing. He does not despair, wondering if the harvest will come. He knows that the process is already underway, though it remains unseen beneath the soil. He waters the seed, he nurtures it, he trusts in the unseen workings of nature, and in due time the seed becomes the harvest. So too must you trust in the unseen workings of faith. Once you have planted the seed of belief, you must cease to question its growth. You must nurture it with expectation, with gratitude, with unwavering confidence that what you have claimed is already on its way. Some may say, but my circumstances tell me otherwise. My eyes see lack, my ears hear bad news, my hands grasp only emptiness. And I say to you, stop looking with the eyes of the flesh and begin to see with the eyes of the Spirit. What you now perceive is only the residue of past beliefs, the echo of old assumptions. Do not be deceived by appearances. They are but shadows cast by former thoughts. Instead, turn within. Turn to the only true reality, the unseen realm of imagination, the birthplace of all things. For what you assume to be true in the silence of your heart shall soon be made visible in the light of day. You do not need to struggle, you do not need to force, you do not need to push against the currents of life, hoping that something will change. You need only to assume, to believe, to accept as already done that which you desire. The moment you do this, the moment you embody the feeling of your wish fulfilled, reality begins to shift. People, events, circumstances, all will rearrange themselves to align with your inner world. This is not chance, this is not coincidence, this is law. There is no limit to what faith can achieve. There is no request too great, no dream too vast, no desire too bold. The only limitation is the one you place upon yourself. If you believe that abundance is reserved for others, then so it shall be. If you believe that blessings come only to the fortunate, then so it shall be. But if you dare to believe that all things are yours, that you are a rightful heir to divine abundance, then nothing shall be withheld from you. The greatest mistake is to wait for external signs before believing. The one who waits remains in waiting, for the law responds only to what is assumed as true now. You must act as though you already possess the thing you desire. You must feel the joy of it, the certainty of it, the gratitude of it. And in doing so, you shift from waiting to receiving. The universe does not delay. It only mirrors back to you the state of your belief. When you pray, do not pray as one who is begging at the feet of an unwilling giver. Pray as one who speaks to a loving Father, a Father who has already provided all things, a Father who withholds nothing from his children. Speak with gratitude, not with longing. Speak with confidence, not with doubt. Speak as one who knows that the answer is already given, and it shall be so. You have been given the power to create. You have been given dominion over your world. You have been given the ability to shape your reality through faith alone. If you wish to see transformation, do not seek it outside of yourself, seek it within. The kingdom of heaven is within you, and from that kingdom flows every blessing you could ever desire. Every great achievement, every great miracle, every great movement of divine abundance has begun in the unseen, in the quiet realm of faith. Before the walls of Jericho fell, faith was spoken. Before the Red Sea parted, faith was declared. Before sight was restored to the blind, faith was received. This is the pattern, the eternal law. Faith first, manifestation second. Do not be discouraged by delays, for in truth there are no delays, only the unfolding of divine timing. What you have claimed is already yours. It is only the conditioning of your own mind that determines when and how you shall receive it. The moment you remove doubt, the moment you cast aside fear, the moment you stand unwavering in the certainty of your desire's fulfillment, the world must conform. You are not separate from God. You are not separate from the abundance you seek. The blessings you desire are not far off in some distant future. They are here now, waiting only for your acceptance. The power has been in your hands all along, and faith is the key that unlocks it. There is nothing more to seek. There is only the decision to believe, the willingness to accept, the courage to stand firm in the unseen truth. The world may call it foolishness, but those who understand know that faith is the only reality, and all else is but a reflection of its power. Now, go forth and believe, not with hesitation, not with half-hearted expectation, but with the full certainty that what you desire is already yours. Let the world around you shift, let the circumstances bend, let the blessings pour forth. For the moment you assume, the moment you accept, the moment you dare to live as though the promise is already fulfilled, the abundance of God will flood into your life beyond measure. Faith is not just a fleeting thought, not just a whispered prayer in the night. It is the very essence of creation, the substance of all things seen and unseen. It is the invisible hand shaping the visible world, the power that brings the formless into form. When you understand this, you will see that your faith is not a small thing, not an abstract concept, but the very key that unlocks the doors to all the blessings you have ever desired. There is no mystery to faith, for it is always at work. It is either working for you or against you, depending on what you accept as true. If you believe in lack, if you expect struggle, if you assume difficulty, then these shall be your portion. Not because they are meant for you, not because you are unworthy of better, but simply because you have placed your faith in them. And what you place your faith in must come to pass, for that is the law. The moment you shift your belief, the moment you take your faith away from limitation and place it in divine abundance, your world begins to change. Not slowly, not over the course of years, but instantly in the unseen realm, and soon after in the world of form. The delay is never in the promise. The delay is only in your willingness to believe without wavering. The more steadfast you are, the quicker the manifestation comes. Some say, "But I have been waiting for so long. I have believed, and still I have not received." And I say to you, have you truly believed? Or have you only hoped, only wished, only entertained faith for a moment before falling back into doubt? For faith is not a temporary thought. It is a state of being. It is a knowing so deep that even if all the evidence before you screams otherwise, you remain unshaken. It is the unwavering conviction that what you have asked for is already yours. You must not look at what is and let it define what will be. What is only the outpicturing of past faith, past thoughts, past assumptions. It has no power to determine what will come unless you continue to accept it as the truth. If you desire a new reality, you must look beyond appearances. You must see with the eyes of faith, hear with the ears of faith, walk in the certainty of faith. And as you do, the world will be forced to conform to your new belief. You cannot serve two masters. You cannot declare abundance and still dwell in lack. You cannot affirm health while still holding on to sickness. You cannot speak of love while believing in loneliness. The universe responds only to what you truly accept, not to what you merely say with your lips. Your outer world is the mirror of your inner world, and the moment you change within, the world outside must follow. Do not be swayed by what others say. Do not be moved by the opinions of those who have not yet understood the power of faith. They may call it foolishness, they may call it impossible, but their words hold no power unless you accept them. What they believe does not matter. Only what you believe shapes your world. If you believe in divine abundance, if you believe that God's blessings are already yours, then no force on earth can keep them from you. The great secret is this: the moment you feel the reality of your desire, the moment you rest in the assurance that it is done, you have already received it. The world may take time to catch up, but the work is finished in the unseen. Your only task is to hold firm, to remain steadfast, to refuse to entertain even the smallest doubt, for doubt is the only thing that can delay what is already yours. Faith is not something to be practiced once and forgotten. It is a way of life. It is the foundation upon which everything else stands. Each day you must renew your faith. Each moment you must align yourself with the truth that God's abundance is already flowing to you. When you do this, you become a magnet for blessings, a vessel through which divine favor overflows. Do not say, I will believe when I see it. Say instead, I see it now in my spirit, and so it must be. For the world does not give you what you ask for. It gives you what you expect. And expectation is nothing more than faith in action. The one who expects good receives good. The one who expects difficulty finds difficulty. Expect only the best, and the best will become your reality. You may wonder, how do I cultivate this kind of faith? How do I reach the place where I believe so deeply that nothing can shake me? And I tell you, it is not something that comes from effort. It is not something that requires struggle. It is something that simply is. You do not try to believe, you decide to believe. You do not wrestle with doubt, you dismiss it. You do not wait for proof, you become the proof. Feel now the reality of your desire. Let it fill you. Let it overflow within you. Do not look to the world for confirmation. Let the confirmation come from within. Speak as though it is already done. Walk as though it is already yours. Give thanks as though you have already received. And as surely as the sun rises, your world will shift to match your conviction. There is no power in the universe that can oppose the one who believes. There is no force strong enough to deny the one who stands unwavering in faith. For the law is absolute, and what you claim in the unseen must be made visible. The only question is, will you claim your blessings? Will you stand firm in the knowledge that they are already yours? Or will you allow fear and doubt to rob you of what has been prepared for you? Do not delay any longer. Do not wait for signs, for the sign comes after the belief, not before. Accept now that you are already blessed. Accept now that abundance is already yours. Accept now that all you have desired is already moving toward you. Stand firm in this knowing and watch as the doors swing open, the way becomes clear, and the blessings of God pour into your life without measure. For faith is the key, and the moment you use it, the kingdom of heaven is opened unto you. Faith is not a distant hope, not a wish upon the stars, not a fragile thing that must be protected from the winds of doubt. It is the unshakable foundation upon which all things are built, the eternal law by which the seen world is formed. It is the very substance of your blessings, the force that calls forth the invisible and clothes it in form. To the one who understands this truth, there is nothing impossible, for all things respond to faith. You must not think of faith as something that comes and goes, something that must be cultivated with great effort. Faith is always present. The question is not whether you have faith, but where you have placed it. Have you placed it in lack, in struggle, in delay? Have you placed it in the words of others who say it cannot be done? Or have you placed it in the unchanging truth that God's abundance is already flowing to you, that the blessings you seek are already yours? To believe in divine abundance is not to wish for it, not to hope for it, but to accept it as the only reality. The world may say otherwise, the circumstances may try to contradict you, but the one who walks in faith does not concern themselves with appearances. They know that what is seen today is only the result of yesterday's beliefs, and that what will be seen tomorrow is being shaped by the convictions held today. The world is not fixed, it is fluid, responding at every moment to the state of your faith. Some will say, I believe, but I still see lack, I still feel struggle, I still face difficulty. And I tell you, to truly believe is not to acknowledge the absence of your desire, but to live as though it is already fulfilled. If you say, I believe, I will receive, you are still placing the blessing in the future, still separating yourself from it. But if you say, I have already received, and you feel the truth of those words within you, then you have made the claim that compels reality to respond. It is not enough to wish for abundance. It is not enough to hope for change. You must embody the state of already having. When you pray, do not pray as one who pleads with a distant God, but as one who thanks a loving Father for what is already given. Speak not as one who hopes to be blessed, but as one who knows they are blessed beyond measure. Walk not as one who waits for their desires to be fulfilled, but as one who already lives in the fulfillment of them. Faith does not ask for permission. It does not seek approval. It does not waver between belief and doubt. Faith simply is. It declares what is true and then rests, knowing that the work is already done. The moment you accept this, the moment you live in the certainty that your blessings are already flowing to you, you will see that reality itself bends to accommodate your belief. Doubt is the only thief, the only barrier, the only delay. It whispers, but what if it does not come? It asks, what if I am wrong? And in giving it attention, you give it power. The one who doubts today will doubt tomorrow, and in that doubt they create delay after delay, waiting for a sign, waiting for proof, when all along the proof was within them. You must silence the voice of doubt with the voice of knowing. You must say it is done, and refuse to entertain even the slightest hesitation. Do not measure your faith by what your eyes see. Do not measure your progress by the movement of external circumstances. Measure it by the certainty in your heart, by the peace that comes from knowing that what you have claimed in faith cannot be denied. The world may shake, circumstances may shift, people may say it is impossible, but none of that matters. What you have accepted as true in faith is already on its way to you. The only question is, will you stand firm in that knowing, or will you allow appearances to sway you? Some will say, but I have believed before, and still I have not seen the blessings I desired. And I tell you, belief is not a momentary thing. It is not a fleeting thought. It is not something you hold for a time and then let go. It must become your state of being, the very air you breathe, the foundation upon which you stand. If you have not received, it is not because faith has failed, but because you have allowed doubt to creep in, because you have looked too long at what is instead of standing firm in what must be. You must see yourself as already blessed. You must walk each day as if your desires have already been fulfilled. You must speak, not as one who is waiting, but as one who has already received. And when the world asks, where is your proof? You must smile, for you know that the proof will come only after the belief is established, never before. The seed does not prove itself the moment it is planted. The farmer does not wait for signs before trusting in the harvest. He knows that the growth is already happening beneath the soil, unseen but inevitable. So too must you trust in the unseen workings of faith. Your task is not to struggle, not to force, not to beg for what is already yours. Your task is to believe so completely, so unwaveringly, that the world has no choice but to conform. If you can do this, if you can walk in faith each day without questioning, without doubting, without looking to the world for confirmation, then you will see miracles unfold before you. You will see doors open where there were none. You will see provision appear when it was least expected. You will see the world shift to match the state of your belief. And when the blessings come, do not say, it was chance, it was luck, it was coincidence. Know that it was always yours, always waiting for you to claim it. Know that faith was the key that unlocked the door, and when the next challenge arises, do not return to doubt, do not return to hesitation, stand even firmer in the truth. For now you have seen with your own eyes what faith can do. You are not meant to live in struggle. You are not meant to live in lack. You are not meant to live as one who hopes for blessings but never receives them. You are meant to walk in divine abundance, to live as one who is constantly receiving, constantly overflowing, constantly expanding into greater and greater expressions of God's limitless love. The moment you accept this, the moment you refuse to entertain any thought that contradicts it, the moment you decide that faith is the only reality you will acknowledge, your life will be transformed beyond measure. Do not wait any longer. Do not hesitate. Do not look to the world for proof before believing. Believe now, claim now, give thanks now, and as surely as the dawn follows the night, your blessings will flow to you in ways beyond anything you could have imagined. Faith is the key, and the door is already open. Walk through it and receive what has been waiting for you all along. Faith is not the hope that something might come to pass. It is the absolute conviction that it already has. It does not wait for the world to change before believing. It believes, and the world changes as a result. There is no waiting in faith, no hesitation, no wondering when or how. Faith does not seek confirmation from the senses, it is its own confirmation. To walk in faith is to stand in the full assurance that all you have asked for is already yours, that the blessings of God are already flowing to you even before you see a single sign. You must not measure the power of faith by what is visible. The seen world is but a reflection of past beliefs, a delayed shadow of what has already been established in the unseen. Do not mistake the present condition for truth. It is only the remnant of old assumptions. If you wish to see something new, you must first believe in the unseen reality of it. You must hold fast to the inner conviction that your desire is already fulfilled, and in doing so you call it forth into existence. You do not need to fight, to struggle, to prove yourself worthy. The blessings of God are not earned, nor are they given sparingly. They are already yours by divine right. There is no need to plead, no need to beg, no need to convince anyone, for the abundance of God is already flowing toward you in unlimited measure. The only requirement is that you believe, that you accept, that you stand firm in the certainty that you are already blessed. Doubt is the only hindrance, the only obstacle, the only barrier between you and your blessings. Doubt is the voice that whispers, but what if it does not happen? And in entertaining that voice you create resistance. Faith allows, faith trusts, faith rests in the assurance that what has been declared in the Spirit must come to pass in the physical world. The moment you remove doubt, the moment you refuse to give it any place in your mind, the blessings that have been waiting for you are free to flow. Some will say, but I have believed before and still I have not received. And I tell you, true belief is not temporary, not something held for a moment and then abandoned. It is a state of being, an unshakable knowing. If you find yourself wavering, questioning, wondering if what you desire will ever come, then your faith is not yet complete. You must move beyond hope, beyond wishing, beyond temporary belief, into the unshakable conviction that what you have claimed is already yours. Look at the great miracles, the great manifestations, the great works of faith that have been recorded throughout time. Not one of them was the result of hesitation. Not one of them came from a mind that wavered between belief and doubt. They were all brought forth by those who stood firm, who refused to accept any reality other than the one they had claimed in faith. The same law applies to you. The same power is within you. The same ability to call forth blessings from the unseen into the seen is already yours. The only question is, will you believe without wavering? Do not wait for conditions to change before you believe. Believe, and the conditions must change. Do not wait for a sign before you claim your blessings. Claim them now, and the signs will follow. The law is absolute. As you believe, so shall it be done unto you. There is no exception, no special circumstance, no situation too difficult. The moment you fully accept that your desires are already fulfilled, the moment you cease questioning and stand in the certainty of it, the entire universe moves to bring it to pass. Faith is not a matter of effort. It is not a forceful attempt to will something into being. It is not a battle against circumstances. Faith is rest. Faith is ease. Faith is the quiet knowing that what you have asked for is already done. It is the ability to live each day in peace, without anxiety, without doubt, without the need for external validation. It is the assurance that your blessings are already on their way, even if you see no evidence of them yet. You must not allow the world to dictate what is possible for you. You must not accept the limitations that others impose. You must not look at circumstances and allow them to define what you can or cannot have. Faith is the rejection of limitation, the refusal to accept anything less than the fullness of God's abundance. The moment you decide that you are already blessed, that you already possess all that you desire, that there is no power that can keep your blessings from you, that is the moment you step into the fullness of faith. You do not need to understand how it will happen. The how is not your concern. Your only task is to believe, to accept, to stand firm in the knowing that it is already done. The path will reveal itself. The way will be made clear. The necessary steps will unfold before you, but none of that will happen until you first accept that it is already yours. This is the great secret, the hidden key to unlocking the abundance of God. The moment you claim it, it is already done. There is no limitation except the one you accept. There is no delay except the one you create. There is no obstacle except the doubt that you allow to remain in your mind. The moment you remove all hesitation, all fear, all questioning, the moment you decide that faith is the only reality, your world must shift to reflect that truth. The universe has no choice but to conform to the state of your belief. Live now as though your blessings have already been received. Speak now as though you are already walking in divine abundance. Give thanks now as though every desire has already been fulfilled. And in doing so, you will see that faith is not something that merely hopes for a future blessing. It is the present reality that brings all things into being. Faith does not ask when, it declares now. Faith does not wonder if, it proclaims it is done. The world may try to tell you otherwise. Circumstances may attempt to shake you. The voices of doubt may whisper in your ear. But none of these things have any power unless you give it to them. Stand firm in your conviction. Do not waver. Do not allow the illusion of delay to convince you that your blessings are not already on their way. Know with absolute certainty that all you have asked for is already yours, that God's abundance is already flowing to you, that nothing can stand in the way of the fulfillment of your desires. This is the truth that transforms lives. This is the law that governs all things. This is the secret that has been known by those who have walked in divine favor throughout history. Faith is not a distant dream, not an empty hope, not a mere possibility. It is the unbreakable law of creation, the very power by which all things come into being. The moment you accept this, the moment you refuse to entertain any thought that contradicts it, the moment you stand unwavering in the knowing that you are already blessed, that is the moment your world will change. Do not hesitate, do not delay, do not wait for permission from the world to believe in what is already yours. Step now into the fullness of faith. Accept now the blessings that have been waiting for you. Declare now that all you have asked for is already fulfilled. And as surely as the sun rises, as surely as the seasons change, as surely as night follows day, your faith will bring forth abundance beyond anything you have ever imagined. Faith is the key, and the door is already opened. Walk through it now and receive all that has been waiting for you. You must see yourself as already possessing every good thing you desire. Do not wait for it to appear before you claim it. Do not ask whether it is possible. Do not wonder if you are worthy. All that exists is already yours by divine inheritance. The only question is, will you accept it? Will you take hold of it with unwavering faith? Or will you continue to allow doubt and fear to keep you from what has already been prepared for you? The one who walks in faith does not ask for signs. They know that signs will follow belief, not precede it. They do not wait for proof before they claim their blessings. They do not look at circumstances and determine their worth based on what they see. They know that the unseen is the true reality, and that the seen world must always conform to the convictions held in faith. You must move beyond the mind that seeks evidence. You must move beyond the eyes that look for confirmation. You must trust so completely in the unseen reality of your blessings that nothing in this world can shake you. It is not enough to say you believe. You must live in the full assurance that all you desire is already accomplished. When you speak, speak as one who already has. When you act, act as one who is already blessed. When you pray, pray as one who is giving thanks for what is already done, not as one who is pleading for what they hope to receive. The power of faith is not in the words you speak, but in the conviction behind them. It is not in the actions you take, but in the certainty with which you take them. It is not in the appearance of your current circumstances, but in your ability to look beyond them and see only the reality of what you have claimed. The world may say one thing, but if your faith says another, the world must change. This is the law. Do not be deceived by appearances. They are but a shadow, a reflection of past thoughts and beliefs. They are not fixed, they are not permanent, they are not immovable. They can shift in an instant, the moment you decide to believe in something greater. The one who understands this is never troubled by what they see, for they know that what they see today is only a reflection of yesterday's thoughts, and what they will see tomorrow depends entirely on what they believe today. So do not place your faith in what is, place your faith in what must be. Do not look at the lack and call it real, look at the abundance within you and call it forth. Do not acknowledge struggle and give it power, acknowledge only the ease, the flow, the divine favor that is already yours. If you refuse to accept anything less than the fullness of God's blessings, then that is all you will receive. The power of your faith is limitless. There is no situation too difficult, no circumstance too dire, no desire too great. The only limitation is the one you place upon yourself. If you believe that something is beyond your reach, then it will remain so. If you believe that you are unworthy, then you will not receive. But the moment you cast aside these false limitations, the moment you decide that you are worthy, that you are already blessed, that there is nothing standing between you and your desires, then the floodgates of divine abundance will open. Some may look at their lives and say, but my struggles are real, my hardships are real, my lack is real. And I tell you, they are real only because you have given them power. They exist because you have accepted them as truth. The moment you decide to believe in something greater, they must fade away. The moment you refuse to entertain them as reality, they must dissolve. Your faith is the only determining factor. It is not the world that dictates your blessings, it is you. Do not say, I will believe when I see it. Say instead, I see it now, and so it must be. Feel it now, claim it now, live in the joy of it now. If you can do this, if you can hold this conviction without wavering, then nothing can stand between you and the manifestation of your desires. The world itself will shift to accommodate your belief. Faith is not about waiting for the right moment. It is not about hoping that one day things will change. It is about knowing that they have already changed, that the moment you claimed your blessing, it was already done. Time is only a veil, an illusion that separates you from the immediate reality of your desires. The stronger your faith, the thinner this veil becomes, until finally what was once unseen is made visible before your very eyes. You do not need to struggle for what is already yours. You do not need to chase what is already on its way to you. You need only to align yourself with the reality of your blessings, to step into the version of yourself that already has them. Speak like one who is blessed, walk like one who is blessed, think like one who is blessed, and soon the world will have no choice but to reflect back to you the truth that you have already claimed. Do not entertain doubt for even a moment. Do not allow it a foothold in your mind. The instant you begin to question, you introduce resistance. The instant you wonder when or how, you create delay. But the one who knows, the one who believes without question, the one who stands firm in faith without needing proof, this is the one who sees miracles unfold effortlessly. The universe moves for the one who does not doubt. You have been given the power to create, the power to manifest, the power to shape your world according to your belief. This is not a gift given to a select few. It is a gift given to all who will use it. It is not reserved for the fortunate, the lucky, or the chosen. It is available to anyone who dares to believe. The moment you decide that this power is yours, the moment you refuse to accept anything less than divine abundance, the moment you stand in the knowing that all you desire is already yours, the world must respond. Do not seek permission to be blessed. Do not wait for others to agree with your vision. Do not ask for approval from a world that does not yet understand the power of faith. Claim what is yours now. Speak it into existence now. Live as though it is already done, and soon you will see the evidence of your belief all around you. You are not meant to live in lack. You are not meant to struggle. You are not meant to wonder when your blessings will arrive. They are already here. The only thing standing between you and them is the depth of your faith. If you believe completely, without hesitation, without fear, without doubt, then nothing can keep them from you. So step into the fullness of your faith now. Refuse to accept anything less than what is rightfully yours. Declare your blessings, speak them into being, live in the joy of already having received, and as surely as night turns to day, as surely as the seasons change, as surely as the law of faith is unbreakable, your world will shift to reflect your conviction. You are already blessed, you are already abundant, you are already standing in the favor of God. There is nothing more to wait for, nothing more to seek, only to believe, to accept, to live in the fullness of faith. And as you do, the abundance of God will pour into your life beyond measure, in ways greater than you have ever imagined. Faith is the key, and the door is already opened. Step through it now and receive what has been waiting for you all along. There is no separation between you and the blessings you seek. There is no distance, no obstacle, no delay except the one you create in your own mind. The moment you recognize that you are not waiting for abundance, but that abundance is waiting for you to claim it, everything changes. The moment you stop seeing yourself as someone who must strive, who must struggle, who must prove their worthiness before receiving, you will step into the reality of your true power. You are already worthy. You are already chosen. You are already in possession of every good thing you could ever desire. It is only a matter of aligning your mind with that truth, of walking in the certainty that what you have declared in faith is already yours. Faith is not a process of convincing yourself. It is not a game of repeating words without conviction, hoping that if you say something enough times, it will one day become true. Faith is not a magic formula. It is the very law of creation itself. The world does not respond to empty words. It responds to the inner conviction with which those words are spoken. It is not enough to affirm abundance while secretly believing in lack. It is not enough to declare success while fearing failure. You must believe with every fiber of your being that what you desire is already done, that it is already present, that it already belongs to you. Do not look to the world for evidence before you believe. The world is only a mirror, a reflection of your inner world. If you wait for proof before believing, you will wait forever, for the proof only appears after faith has been fully accepted. The moment you declare it is already mine and live as though it is, the world must rearrange itself to reflect that truth. It has no choice. The law is unbreakable. The only delay is the hesitation within you, the moments when you question, the moments when you allow old beliefs to creep back in. But the instant you remove doubt completely, the instant you refuse to entertain anything except the reality of your blessing, it will manifest before you. Some will ask, but what if I fail? What if I believe and nothing happens? And I say to you, there is no failure except in the refusal to believe. There is no risk in faith, no loss in standing firm in your conviction. The only true failure is in doubting your own power, in turning away from the truth that you are the creator of your experience. Every great movement of divine abundance has been accomplished by those who refused to entertain the idea of failure, those who saw only the reality of what they desired and would not accept anything less. The same is true for you. The same law applies to you. You are not an exception, for faith excludes no one. It is the gift given to all who will use it. When you ask not as one who is begging, but as one who is claiming what already belongs to them. When you declare not as one who is uncertain, but as one who is simply stating a fact. When you walk not as one who is waiting, but as one who is already in possession of their desires. The world does not question those who move with certainty, those who expect blessings, those who carry themselves as though they are already standing in divine favor. It only responds to them, it must obey them, for they have aligned themselves with the higher law of faith. You do not need to convince anyone else. You do not need approval from the world. You do not need anyone to agree with you. You only need to agree with yourself. If you believe, then that is enough. If you know beyond all doubt that what you desire is already yours, then nothing else matters. No one else's opinion has any power over you unless you allow it to. No external circumstance can stand in your way unless you give it permission. The only authority in your world is your own faith. And when you stand in that faith, unwavering and absolute, the world will have no choice but to conform. Some will try to tell you that things take time, that you must be patient, that you must work hard, that you must earn your blessings. But I tell you, time is an illusion. Hard work is not the key. Effort alone does not create abundance. What does? The absolute certainty that it is already yours. The one who believes in delay will experience delay. The one who believes they must struggle will experience, but the one who believes that all things are already finished, that what they have claimed in faith is already present, will see it materialize before them with ease. Faith does not require effort, it requires surrender. Surrender not to the world, not to circumstances, not to limitations, but to the truth that what is unseen is more real than what is seen, that what is within you is greater than what is outside of you, that the moment you declare something as true and refuse to waver, the universe itself will move to make it so. There is no force strong enough to resist true faith, no obstacle that can stand in its way, no delay that can hold back what has already been declared in certainty. So do not wait, do not hesitate, do not ask when or how, simply declare it is done and let that be enough. Live as though it is already true. Let every thought, every action, every word reflect the reality of your blessing. And as surely as the stars shine in the night sky, as surely as the tides follow the moon, as surely as the seasons change, your faith will bring forth what has already been waiting for you. Do not entertain fear. Do not entertain doubt. Do not look at circumstances and allow them to dictate what is possible. The moment you do, you begin to undo what your faith has already set in motion. Stand firm, stand unwavering, stand in the absolute certainty that all things are already given to you. And in doing so, you will see miracles unfold. You will see doors open. You will see abundance pour into your life in ways that defy all logic, all reason, all expectation. You are not separate from God. You are not separate from divine abundance. You are not separate from the blessings you seek. They are already yours. You are already chosen. You are already standing in favor. The only thing left is for you to believe it so completely that the world has no choice but to reflect it back to you. This is not theory, this is law, this is truth. And those who understand it, those who apply it, those who refuse to waver in their conviction will see their lives transformed beyond measure. It has already been given. The only thing left is for you to receive. Receive it now, accept it now. Walk in the fullness of your blessings now, and as you do, the kingdom of heaven will be made manifest in your life, overflowing, abundant, without measure. Faith is the key. The door is open. Walk through it now, and take hold of what has been waiting for you all along. And so I tell you now, there is nothing more to wait for. There is no more permission to seek, no more proof to require, no more hesitation to entertain. The blessings you desire, the abundance you seek, the divine favor that has always been yours is already here. It has been waiting for you to step into the fullness of faith, to claim it as your own, to accept it without question, without doubt, without resistance. You are not a beggar before God. You are not one who must struggle to be worthy. You are an heir to infinite abundance, a vessel through which divine power flows, a creator of your reality through the simple act of belief. The only task before you is to decide, will you continue to live as though you are separate from your blessings, or will you embrace the truth that they are already yours? If you believe fully, without fear, without hesitation, without allowing the world to sway you, then nothing can stand in your way. The universe must yield to the one who walks in faith. The doors must open, the way must be made clear, the blessings must pour forth. This is the law. This is the truth. This is the key that unlocks all things. So go now, not as one who hopes, but as one who knows. not as one who waits, but as one who has already received. Walk in faith, speak in faith, live in faith, and as surely as the stars shine above, as surely as the sun rises each day, as surely as the divine presence within you is limitless and unfailing, your world will transform. For faith is the key, and the door is already open. Step through it now and receive what has been waiting for you all along. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight I invite you to consider something so simple yet so powerful that it shapes every corner of your world. I invite you to look within, not to the noise outside, not to circumstance or condition, but to the sacred theater of your imagination. For within that silent chamber lies the birthplace of every reality you have ever known. You may think the world happens to you, but I tell you, it happens through you. Every joy, every sorrow, every triumph, every defeat. It is not the hand of fate, but the hand of imagination, guided either blindly or with intention. The moment you accept this truth is the moment you hold the key to everything. What you imagine with God becomes real, not someday, not somewhere distant in time, but now in seed form. The outer world is only the harvest of thoughts, deeply felt, persistently held. Your imagination is divine. It is not a daydream, not mere fantasy. It is the very workshop of creation. And the power behind it, that still, small voice within, that which many call God. To imagine lovingly, to dwell in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, is to align yourself with divine law. When you feel as though your desire is already yours, when you walk, talk, and breathe as though it is done, you impress it upon the deeper mind, and what is impressed must be expressed. That is the law. You have imagined your way to this very moment. Every relationship, every opportunity, every challenge, you summoned them by what you believed and felt to be true, perhaps unknowingly, but the law does not require awareness to function, only feeling. If you feared it, you fed it. If you longed for it with certainty, you called it near. So I say to you, use your imagination as you would a sacred tool. Do not squander it on fear or doubt or revenge. Dare to believe in the beautiful, the noble, the good. Dwell in it until it feels natural, until it feels like home, and then release it not in desperation but in faith. For what you have conceived in feeling is already born in spirit. The world is clay, and your inner vision shapes it. But it is not just vision, it is vision fused with belief, soaked in emotion, wrapped in repetition. That is how mountains move. That is how doors open without keys. That is how the invisible becomes seen. So tonight ask yourself not merely what you want, but what you are willing to become in mind and spirit, because your world will always reflect the image you hold within. Choose wisely, imagine wisely, because what you imagine with God becomes real. What you imagine with God becomes real. This is not poetry, it is principle. It is the rhythm of life itself, quietly and faithfully playing in the background of every waking moment, waiting only for your conscious participation. You are not a passive observer in this world. You are not at the mercy of luck or fate or circumstance. You are the operant power. You are the chooser, and the choosing happens within. Each time you dare to imagine something greater, something finer, something more in line with the divine pattern of love and abundance, you are not merely hoping, you are creating. Feel the difference. Hope begs, imagination assumes. Hope waits, imagination lives in the end. Hope says, maybe one day. Imagination says, it is so now. And the world, like a faithful mirror, reflects the latter. You are not separate from the source of creation. It breathes in you, moves through you, expresses as you. When you sit quietly and close your eyes, when you dwell in the scene of your heart's desire fulfilled, you are not pretending. You are entering the realm from which all reality springs. The invisible realm, the eternal, the real. And the moment you feel it to be true, The moment you live in that imaginal act with conviction, you set in motion a law more powerful than anything the world can oppose. The outer world rearranges itself to match the inner state. This is not something you try to make happen with force. It is something you allow by remaining faithful to the assumption that it already is. Everything you now experience, you once imagined. Whether consciously or unconsciously, you lived in the feeling of it long enough for it to take root. And now you walk among the fruits of yesterday's inner garden. This is not to shame you, it is to empower you, because if you created what is, you can create what will be. It is never too late to change the script. And the script does not change by pleading or hustling or fighting against what you see. It changes by assuming the end and making that end so vivid, so real, so emotionally charged in your imagination that the world cannot help but catch up. You see, life is not reacting to your wishes, it is reflecting your assumptions. And assumptions, once embodied, harden into fact. So what are you assuming right now about yourself, about others, about what's possible? Are you living as though the future you want is already here, or are you waiting for proof before you believe? Because belief is the proof. Feeling is the secret. When you walk in the state of already being what you desire, when you move through your day with the confidence of someone who already has the thing they used to long for, you call it into being. It must come, not because of who you are in the world, but because of who you are in consciousness. The world bows to your inner conviction. This is not magic, it is law. And law does not play favorites. It doesn't care how long you've struggled or how many mistakes you've made. It only responds to your present inner state. So if you would change your life, don't wait for the world to change first. Go within. Change the feeling. Change the inner conversation. Change the movie playing in your mind, and stay there. Not for a minute, not for a moment of inspiration, but as a way of life. Live from the end, not toward it, from it. This is the greatest secret of manifestation. When you imagine with God, you are imagining from the source of all things. There is no lack there, no doubt, no delay, only the perfect fulfillment of your desire as if it were always true, as if it had never not been true. And when you feel that way long enough, consistently enough, lovingly enough, the world bends itself to make it visible. You don't need to tell others. You don't need to convince or explain. What you do in the silence of your soul is more powerful than anything you could say aloud. Withdraw from appearances. Ignore the evidence of the senses if it contradicts your aim. Let your faith in the unseen be greater than your fear of the seen, because what you sustain in imagination will become the seen. The world may say, be realistic, but I say to you, be imaginative, because what the world calls realistic is just what has already been made visible by imagination. It is old news. It is the echo of a former assumption. You are not here to live in echoes. You are here to sing the new song, to see what others do not yet see, to feel what the world has not yet caught up to know in your bones, in your breath, that what you imagine with God becomes fact. Take a moment. Think of a desire close to your heart. Not one you think is reasonable, not one you believe you should want, but one that sets your soul on fire, one that whispers to you in quiet hours, one that makes you feel alive. Now ask yourself, if it were true right now, how would I feel? How would I carry myself? How would I speak, move, breathe? What thoughts would fill my mind? What assumptions would I naturally hold? Now dare to dwell there, not just in fantasy, but in faith. Faith is not blind. Faith sees what the eyes cannot. Faith is the evidence of things not seen, the substance of things hoped for. Faith is imagination married to conviction. When you persist in that inner feeling, when you make it so real to you that the outer world becomes irrelevant, it must materialize. You don't chase it. You don't beg for it. You become it. And in becoming it, you draw all things necessary into your world. People, places, opportunities. They come as if by accident, but you'll know better. You'll know they are simply the visible bridge between your inner state and its outer reflection. This is how the meek inherit the earth, not through striving, but through stillness, through the quiet mastery of inner reality, through the wise use of imagination aligned with love. Because when you imagine lovingly for yourself, for others, you become a vessel for divine will. And divine will is always fullness, always peace, always joy. Guard your imagination then as you would a sacred flame. Don't lend it to fear or gossip or complaint. Don't let it drift aimlessly into worry or regret. Keep it anchored in the truth of what you want. And when old patterns try to drag you back, remind yourself, I am not my past. I am not my current condition. I am not even what others see. I am what I assume myself to be. And I assume now that I am blessed, that I am guided, that I am whole, that I am loved and loving, that what I desire is mine because I have made it real in imagination. And what is real in imagination is just as real, if not more so, than what is presently visible. It only waits for the right season to bloom. This is why patience is not passive. Patience is trust. It is knowing that the seed already planted will grow as long as you do not dig it up with doubt. It is knowing that your assumption, once fixed and felt, will attract every condition needed for its fulfillment. You don't have to know how, you only have to know that it will. Rest in that knowing. Let it calm your nerves. Let it quiet your questions. The same divine power that imagined galaxies into being lives in you. It does not fail. It does not forget. It does not withhold. It gives according to your assumption. It reflects what you dare to feel is already true. So I ask you, one more time, what are you imagining? Not just casually, but consistently. What inner state are you nurturing, feeding, repeating? Because that is what you will live. Not what you want, not what you hope, but what you believe yourself to be in the secret places of your soul. If you would change your world, change your inner speech. Speak to yourself as the person who already has what they once sought. Walk into rooms with the posture of someone who knows their worth. Act not in pretense, but in inner alignment with the truth of your fulfilled desire. Let your imagination outgrow your memory. Let it stretch beyond the facts of your current world. Let it become the vision of what can be and already is in spirit. And the world, though it may seem slow to catch on, will rise to meet you there. It always does. It always does, because it must. The world has no choice but to echo what you have fixed in consciousness. It is not a matter of time, but a matter of assumption. When you persist in the assumption long enough, time bends to it. Circumstance bends to it. People, even the ones who seem most unrelated to your dream, will play the exact roles needed to bring your desire to pass. Not because they intend to, but because they must. They are moved like actors on a stage, responding to the lines you have already written in the script of imagination. The deeper part of you, what some call the higher self, the God within, the I am, knows this truth already. It waits patiently for you to remember. Every time you return to imagination, to the state of the wish fulfilled, you are coming back home. You are returning to the source of all manifestation, the source of all reality. You are no longer looking to the world to tell you who you are telling the world who you are, and the world obeys. So you must make it a habit, a discipline, a way of life. The disciplined use of imagination is not restrictive, it is liberating. It frees you from reaction. It makes you the cause, not the effect. And when you live as the cause, nothing can shake you. Storms may come, but you know they are temporary. Delays may arise, but you know they are only illusions. Because you have seen the end, you have felt the end. And having assumed the end, it is yours. Do not mistake persistence in imagination for mere repetition. It is not about how many times you say the words or visualize the scene. It is about how deeply you feel the truth of it. One moment of deep, rich, vivid inner experience is more powerful than 1,000 hollow affirmations. To feel it real is to ignite the fire, and once lit, it must burn through every layer of resistance until the outer world reshapes itself to match your inner conviction. You see, the imagination is the creative power of God individualized in you. It is not a gift given to the fortunate, it is the essence of who you are. The world was imagined into being. All that is seen was once unseen. Everything man has made, from the smallest tool to the grandest monument, began in imagination. And yet we think nothing of wasting this power on worry, doubt, and limitation. We give it away to fear. We loan it to negative self-talk. And then we wonder why our lives mirror back to us chaos and lack. You were never meant to live by default. You were meant to live by design. And that design begins with what you accept as true in imagination. Whatever you would see expressed outwardly, you must first claim inwardly. Whatever you would hold in your hands, you must first hold in your mind. And not as a distant hope, but as a present fact. I am, not I will be. It is, not it could be. For all things are possible to the one who believes, not in mere possibilities, but in fulfilled facts. Let that be your compass, the feeling of the wish fulfilled. It is the one thing you must return to again and again. In quiet moments, in the midst of chaos, when things seem to fall apart and when everything goes right, return to that inner state. Let it become your dwelling place. Let it become your atmosphere. Because what you frequently imagine becomes your reality. Not through force, not through effort, but through spiritual law, which never fails. Many believe that imagining a better life is wishful thinking, but wishful thinking is unfocused, passive, and lacks faith. The imagination I speak of is active, deliberate, and fused with feeling. It does not wait, it declares, it does not hope, it assumes. It lives in the state of already having, already being, already doing, and that state draws to it the conditions that match it. No prayer goes unanswered. No sincere act of imagination is ever wasted. Every time you imagine lovingly, every time you feel a truth that contradicts the senses, you sow a seed. You may not see it grow immediately, but do not be fooled. Something has shifted. The world may look the same for a while, but behind the curtain, everything is changing. The stage is being set. The characters are being moved. The doors are being prepared to open. So persist. When the evidence says otherwise, persist. When doubt knocks, persist. Not with strain, but with confidence. Remind yourself that what you imagine with God becomes real, not by effort, but by law. If it is truly assumed, it must come to pass. If it is truly felt, it must find expression. Now understand this clearly. Imagination must be fused with belief to create. Mere mental images are not enough. It is belief that gives imagination its power. It is the feeling of certainty, the emotional conviction that impresses upon the deeper self. That is why imagining without feeling leads to frustration. You must feel the truth of it. You must dwell in it long enough for it to become familiar, natural, inevitable. Do not worry about how it will come. That is not your work. Your work is to assume the end and live in its feeling. Let the divine intelligence within take care of the means. It knows ways and connections far beyond your current understanding. When you interfere with the how, you often limit the miracle. So release the need to figure it out. Just feel it real and remain faithful. Some may ask, but what if I fail? What if I imagine and nothing changes? To that I say, you can never truly fail if you persist. Failure only comes when you stop imagining, when you give up the vision, when you abandon the assumption. The moment you pick it up again with renewed faith, the process continues. Your only task is to return to the state of the wish fulfilled, over and over, lovingly, confidently, joyfully. Even in the midst of the opposite, you can hold to the vision. That is true mastery. Anyone can believe when the evidence is there, but to believe in spite of what you see, that is divine power. That is creation. That is the mark of someone who knows their union with the source. Every great change in your life will begin first in imagination. There is no exception. Whether it is healing, abundance, love, purpose, peace, it begins as an inner experience. So make your inner world rich. Fill it with beauty, with faith, with confidence in the good. Make your inner conversations kind and bold. Speak to yourself as you would if you already had all you desired. Think thoughts of success, of peace, of fulfillment, not because you're trying to trick the world, but because you're shaping it. If you only knew how powerful you truly are, you would never again imagine anything you do not wish to experience. You would never again speak carelessly about yourself or your circumstances. You would never again accept limitation as truth. You would guard your inner world with holy reverence, because you would understand the imagination is not just creative, it is divine, and its partner is God. What you imagine with God becomes real. Not maybe, not someday, it becomes real. The moment you feel it real, it becomes part of you. And what is part of you must find expression. So feel it now, love it now, be it now, and let the world catch up. Your life is clay, and your imagination is the sculptor. There are no limits but those you accept. There are no delays but those you entertain. Every moment is a new chance to claim a new reality. Every second a doorway into a new world. Enter it boldly, enter it lovingly, and live from it, not toward it. Because when you do, when you really do, the world will change, and you will know, not by theory but by experience, that what you imagined with God has become real. The most sacred thing you possess is your ability to imagine, for it is there that God speaks in first person. It is not outside you, not in some distant place above the sky, but right where you are, thinking as you, dreaming as you, believing as you. When you say, I am, you are invoking the name of God. Whatever you place after those two words, you call into being. If you say, I am poor, you are not describing a condition, you are declaring a truth. If you say, I am loved, you are not merely expressing a wish, you are shaping a reality. So watch yourself. Listen closely to your inner conversations. They matter more than any outer action. They matter more than what anyone else says about you, more than your job title, your bank balance, your relationships. What you whisper to yourself when no one is watching, that is the seed of your world. The quietest assumption held with feeling will eventually outpicture itself, even if the world around you insists otherwise. Do you want to know where your future is heading? Don't look to a psychic. Look to what you consistently feel to be true in your imagination. What scenes do you replay before sleep? What do you assume when you're walking through your day? Do you live in expectation or dread, in confidence or doubt? You cannot plant the seed of fear and reap the fruit of joy. You cannot water a garden of limitation and expect abundance. You must begin where it all begins, with feeling, with belief, with imagination. And the most powerful use of imagination is not to escape reality, but to create it. When you imagine, not for fantasy's sake, but with intention, when you fuse your desire with feeling, faith, and repetition, you are entering the realm of miracles, not by chance, but by law. And this law will never fail you, not once, if you remain faithful to the inner state. You must claim it boldly, not timidly, not halfway, boldly. You must say, this is who I am, this is what I have, this is what is mine, even if the world tells you the opposite, especially if the world tells you the opposite. That is the moment you choose. Will I believe the seen or the unseen? Will I side with fear or with faith? Will I remain loyal to my senses or to the deeper knowing within me? What you imagine with God becomes real, because God operates in you through your assumption, not through the begging of your lips, but through the certainty of your soul. When you feel yourself into a new state, a new identity, and you refuse to leave it, the world must conform. It may take days, weeks, or months, but it must come, not because you forced it, but because you aligned with it. You are always creating. This is not something that turns off and on. Whether in joy or worry, in hope or doubt, you are constantly imagining. The question is not if you are creating, but what you are creating. And you will know what you have created by the life you live today. But do not be discouraged. For just as you once imagined your way into limitation, you can now imagine your way into freedom. You can revise the past, heal the present, and shape the future, all from the center of your being. There is no power outside of you greater than the power within. You may feel small, but you are not. You may feel forgotten, but you are not. You may feel broken, but in truth you are whole. For you are made in the image of the Creator, not in form, but in function. The function to create. And that function is imagination. Let it become sacred to you. Protect it. Nourish it. Don't throw it away on worry and fear, on what-ifs and worst-case scenarios. Use it for what it was given. To dream wisely, to envision boldly, to feel into a new life, until that new life becomes so familiar, so alive, so real within you, that the outer world must obey. You will begin to notice subtle changes first. You will feel lighter, more at ease. You will begin to carry yourself differently. You will stop reacting to the world and begin responding from a place of power. People will notice something in you, something calm, grounded, magnetic. They won't know what it is, but you will. You'll know that you've tapped into the source, that you've begun to create from the inside out. Do not let others distract you with their opinions or their doubts. Most people live as though imagination is childish, naive, even foolish. But that's only because they've forgotten what they once knew as children, that everything real was once unreal, that the invisible precedes the visible, that the dream comes before the doing. And if you are to reclaim your power, you must remember what they have forgotten. You must remember that you are not here to live life as it is, but as it could be, as it should be, according to the divine vision you hold in your soul. This is not denial, this is creation. This is not escapism, this is transformation. You are not ignoring facts, you are overriding them with truth. And truth is not what is seen, truth is what is felt, claimed, and lived within, until the scene is remade in its image. If you could only hold one belief in this life, let it be this, that imagination and God are one. That what you dare to believe with love and conviction becomes real, not always on your timeline, not always in the way you expect, but always in perfect alignment with your assumption. The world will surprise you, not because it is random, but because it is obedient. It listens not to your words, but to your feeling, not to your logic, but to your state. So check your state, do it often, not with judgment, but with curiosity. Ask yourself, what am I assuming right now? Am I assuming lack or abundance? Am I assuming love or loneliness? Am I assuming ease or struggle? Whatever you're assuming, you are aligning with. Whatever you're aligning with, you are creating. And the beautiful thing is this, your power lies in the present, not in what happened yesterday, not in what might come tomorrow, but in what you are feeling and believing now. This moment is the birthplace of all that will come. So bless it, use it, shape it, claim in this moment what you desire, and do not waver. Feel the end. See yourself already there, not as a distant hope, but as a present reality. Feel the relief, the joy, the confidence of already having it. Hear the words of congratulations. See the proof on paper, the smile on a loved one's face, the doors that were once shut swinging open. Breathe it in, let it move through your body, and then go about your day not as someone hoping, but as someone who knows. You'll find yourself walking taller. You'll notice that decisions come easier, that opportunities begin to appear without effort, that life begins to echo your inner world more quickly, and each time it does, you will trust even more. You will stop needing signs, because your conviction will become the sign. You will stop needing evidence, because your assumption will carry more weight than circumstance. And then the miracle will appear quietly, naturally, as though it had always been so. And you smile, not because you're surprised, but because you knew, because you felt it, because you lived it in imagination before it came to pass. That's the moment everything changes. Not when the outer world shifts, but when the inner world becomes unshakable. You were born to imagine wisely. You were born to live from vision, not reaction. You were born to remember that the unseen is more real than the seen, that the seed is the promise, that your imagination, united with divine intelligence, is the most creative force on earth. So choose this moment to begin anew, not by changing what's outside, but by changing what's within. Assume the best. Feel the truth of your desire already fulfilled. Live in the end again and again until it feels like home. And then watch, not with anxiety, but with quiet assurance, as the world transforms to meet you there. Because it will. It always will. Because it always will. You are not waiting for the world is waiting for you to assume the posture of the one who already is, already has, already knows. You do not need permission to imagine boldly. You do not need anyone's agreement or approval to claim what is yours in spirit. For the spirit within you is complete, whole, lacking nothing. And when you imagine from that place, the world bows in response. Everything is responding to you, though you may have thought otherwise. Perhaps you've believed that you had to beg, work harder, or suffer longer to deserve what you wanted. But the truth is, deserving has nothing to do with it. It is not about effort, but alignment. You receive not because you have earned, but because you have assumed. You get what you accept as true for yourself, not what you think you're worthy of in theory, but what you feel to be natural. And what feels natural now is the greatest clue to what you'll see next. This is why change doesn't come by chance, but by choice. By choosing again and again to inhabit a new feeling, a new assumption, until it becomes second nature. When you feel wealthy, you attract the forms that reflect it. When you feel loved, love appears. When you feel successful, success meets you. The outer must reflect the inner. It's not a maybe, it's a must. But you cannot trick the law. You cannot fake the feeling with empty affirmations while deep down clinging to fear. You must believe it. And belief is not found in your head. It is found in your heart, in your body, in your mood, in the quality of your thoughts and actions. If you believe you are the one who has it, you act like it, think like it, feel like it, even if no one else can see it yet. And soon they will. You may not know how it will come. It may come in ways that surprise you. That's not your concern. Your concern is the state, the invisible root, not the visible branch. You don't need to predict the steps. You just need to walk in the feeling of the end. The how belongs to the divine. It is your trust that opens the way. And let me remind you again, you are not imagining alone. You are not wishing from a place of emptiness. When you imagine, you are communing with the highest intelligence there is. The God power in you does not speak in words. It speaks in vision, in feeling, in knowing. And when you align with that frequency, when you surrender to that inner certainty, creation becomes effortless. It becomes natural. It becomes inevitable. Do not worry if you can't see the full picture yet. The seed does not need to see the tree to grow. It simply unfolds according to the pattern placed within it. And your desire, your true, burning, unshakable desire, is that pattern. It was placed within you for a reason, not to torment you, not to taunt you, but to call you into creation, to awaken your sleeping power, to remind you that you are here to shape life, not to be shaped by it. Most people sleep through life, reacting, surviving, doing what they're told. But you are being called to awaken. You are being called to imagine consciously, deliberately, wisely, not to wait for the world to show you who you are, but to show the world what is possible through a being who dares to feel it real. It doesn't matter how many times you've failed. It doesn't matter how long you've waited. The moment you assume the new state and persist in it, your past becomes irrelevant. The past is not a sentence, it is a shadow. And it cannot hold you when you step into the light of a new assumption. Stop telling the story of what went wrong. Start telling the story of what is right now in imagination. That is the only place transformation begins. You are not here to fix the world. You are here to fix your vision of it. And as you change your vision, the world changes with it. Relationships shift, finances shift, health shifts. It all begins within. When you begin to see others through the lens of love and wholeness, they begin to mirror that. When you refuse to give energy to lack, lack begins to fade. When you stop expecting disappointment, life stops disappointing you. Expectation is powerful. It is imagination in motion. What you expect, you attract. What you anticipate, you invite. So expect joy, expect breakthroughs, expect miracles, not out of arrogance, but out of alignment. Expect them because you have already seen them in your mind, already felt them in your heart, already accepted them as done. That is not delusion, it is faith. Faith is not hoping that something might happen. Faith is knowing it already has. Faith is standing in the middle of a storm and saying, I am safe. Faith is looking at a bank account with zeros and saying, I am abundant. Faith is waking up to the same routine and saying something new and wonderful is happening now. Faith speaks from the end, and imagination is its voice. When you combine imagination and faith, you become unstoppable. Not because you control the world, but because you command the inner world. And the inner world is the cause of all things. This is the law. You cannot escape it, only use it. So why not use it with love? Why not imagine the best for yourself and for others? Why not dwell in the feeling of answered prayer? Every great life, every invention, every revolution, every transformation started in the unseen. Someone somewhere dared to imagine differently, dared to believe beyond what their eyes could see, and so they rose. Not because they were chosen, but because they chose to believe in a world not yet visible, chose to honor the vision more than the facts, chose to live as if it were true, and in doing so made it true. You are no different. You have the same power, the same faculty, the same divine inheritance. But it requires courage, it requires persistence, it requires being so loyal to the inner reality that no outer condition can break your faith. Even if you stumble, even if you doubt, return. Return to the feeling, return to the vision, return to the end. It is always there for you. It is waiting for your yes. And when you give it your yes, when you imagine, not as a beggar, but as a co-creator, you step into a rhythm that cannot fail. You begin to live not by effort, but by flow. Life begins to meet you with grace. You stop chasing and start attracting. You stop forcing and start allowing. And the things that once seemed far away begin to come closer, not because the world changed, but because you did. You may not notice the shift at first. It may be subtle. A new idea, a sudden opportunity, a different way of seeing someone, a lightness in your step. But it builds and it grows until suddenly you look around and realize, this is the life I once imagined. And then you'll smile, not because you're surprised, but because you remember. You remember the nights you spent imagining in silence. You remember the mornings you felt it real before the day began. You remember the decision you made to no longer live by sight, but by vision. And that memory will become the foundation of your faith. The proof that what you imagine with God becomes real. Always. It is not superstition. It is not luck. It is not wishful thinking. It is law. And you are the living proof of it. So let this moment be your turning point. Let this breath be your new beginning. Do not wait for the world to give you permission. Do not wait for the evidence to believe. Believe now, imagine now, feel it now, live it now. And watch with quiet joy as the invisible becomes visible, the hoped for becomes fact, and your imagined reality becomes the only one you know. Because this is how reality bends, not to force, not to desperation, not to struggle, but to assumption fused with feeling held steadily within. Reality bends to the one who knows, not the one who hopes. It bends to the inner atmosphere that says, without question, it is already done. And this knowing does not come from evidence, it comes from conviction. and conviction is born in imagination, then nourished through repetition and finally embodied as your natural state. You do not have to prove anything to anyone. The only proof required is within, if you can feel it to be true, so deeply that it becomes your mood, your tone, your identity, the world will confirm it. That is not arrogance. That is alignment. You are not trying to create something outside of yourself. You are revealing by the light of your imagination what is already yours in the invisible. This is the truth most forget. They chase, hustle, and grind, thinking the outer world is where the treasure lies. But the treasure is within. It always was. When you imagine something and claim it with your full being, the outer world becomes a servant of that vision. People, opportunities, events, they rearrange themselves to fulfill what you have already accepted. And so you must be careful not to use this divine gift against yourself. Don't rehearse fears and call it being realistic. Don't dwell on what went wrong and call it processing. Don't return again and again to thoughts of lack, unworthiness, rejection, and think you are simply being cautious. You are planting seeds. You are writing upon the subconscious that this is who you are, and the subconscious will always bring it forth. This is why imagination is not child's play. It is divine play. The most serious work you will ever do is in silence, behind closed eyes, when no one is watching and no one applauds. That is where life is changed. That is where miracles are born, not in noise, not in public, but in stillness. When you dare to assume that your inner world is more real than the outer, and that feeling is more powerful than fact. You do not have to fight the old, you only need to imagine the new. You don't have to resist what is, you only need to surrender to what could be, and feel it now as what is. It is so simple and yet so profound. You do not overcome darkness by analyzing it. You overcome it by turning on the light. And the light is imagination, guided by love, anchored by faith, sustained by persistence. Some will tell you that your dreams are too big, that you need to be practical, that you should settle. Smile at them. Forgive them. They are simply reflecting the limits they have accepted for themselves. But you must walk a different path. You must live not according to what is, but according to what could be. You must be willing to look like a fool to the world in order to be faithful to the unseen. For what the world calls delusion, God calls faith. And what the world calls fantasy, the wise know to be creation in its earliest form. Do not let their unbelief shake your inner vision. Hold to it, protect it, water it with love and feeling. Speak of it not to everyone but to yourself constantly. Let it be your companion in solitude. Let it be your compass in uncertainty. Every great leap in your life will require this quiet defiance of appearances. You will have to say, even in the midst of contradiction, I know who I am. I know what is mine. I know what I have imagined. And when the outer world shouts no, you must whisper yes, and feel that yes in your bones. That is power. That is mastery. That is living from within. And from that place you will begin to see the strange and beautiful unfolding of reality. Synchronicities will appear. Things will work out coincidentally. What seemed delayed for years will manifest suddenly, not because you forced it, but because you finally believed it. And belief is the true magnet. Belief is the womb of manifestation. Understand that the law does not work with emotionless logic. It works with feeling. You can think 1,000 thoughts a day, but it is the one you feel that becomes flesh. It is not the words of your affirmations, but the emotional charge behind them that matters. If you say, I am wealthy and feel poor, the feeling wins. But if you say, I am abundant and feel rich, even for a moment, that moment is enough to plant the seed. So learn to live in the feeling. That is your real work, not to change the outer, but to change the inner atmosphere so fully that the outer must conform. It is not about effort. It is about inner consent. Do you agree with the version of yourself that already has the life you want? If not, you must begin to. You must speak as that version, feel as that version, act as that version. Quietly, humbly, consistently, even when no one notices, even when no one claps, especially then, because the world sees what is. But the awakened imagination sees what will be, and it holds to that vision with tenderness and strength until it becomes what is. It is not enough to imagine once, you must return again and again to the scene, to the feeling, to the state, until it becomes familiar, natural, automatic, until you no longer try to believe, because you simply do. That is the goal. To become so saturated in the assumption that you no longer have to remember it, it becomes who you are. And who you are will always determine what you experience. Let no one steal your vision. Let no voice, however loud, cause you to doubt what you have seen in the silence of your soul. You do not need evidence to begin. You only need imagination and faith. You do not need to know every step. You only need to know the end. Live from that end, speak from it, think from it, and let the steps reveal themselves one by one as you walk. This is the greatest power you possess. Not your skills, not your knowledge, but your inner state. That is what you take into every room, every opportunity, every encounter. And that is what life responds to. You may fool others with words, you may dress up lack in confidence, but life does not respond to what you say. It responds to what you are in consciousness. You cannot fake your state, but you can change it. And to change it, you do not need to travel or spend or earn or wait. You need only to sit, breathe, and feel, to close your eyes and enter the state of the fulfilled desire, to dwell there, to live there, to think from it until it is no longer a practice, but a natural way of being. That is where transformation begins, not in the world, but in you. And when it begins in you, it is inevitable that it will express itself. The law demands it. Your only task is to persist, not forcefully, but faithfully. Persist in the inner knowing, in the chosen mood, in the assumption that all is well and becoming better. And as you do, the world will begin to echo back your belief, your vision, your truth. You will walk into rooms and feel the shift. You will speak and your words will carry weight. You will live, not in reaction, but in creation. And all because you remembered what others forgot. That imagination, when united with divine feeling, becomes reality. Always. So I leave you with this. The power is within you. It always has been. You are not waiting for permission, not waiting for the world to catch up, not hoping for luck or chance. You are the dreamer, the imagineer, the silent creator of your world. What you dare to assume is true, what you feel deeply and live from consistently, must be made visible. It is law, not luck. And when you imagine with God, boldly, lovingly, faithfully, you do not just shape your own reality. You awaken others to the truth that they can shape theirs too. Use this gift wisely. Imagine well and live from the end, because what you imagine with God becomes real. Tonight I invite you to step beyond the veil of appearances and peer into the eternal law that governs all things, the divine law of cause and effect. But I do not speak of the law as it is taught in the schools of logic or the dry philosophies of men. No, this is a sacred law, vibrantly alive, pulsing with creative power, the invisible root from which all visible things spring forth. The world you behold, with all its seeming complexity, is but the outpicturing of unseen causes. And where are these causes? Look not to the stars, nor to fate, nor to the opinions of others. The cause of all that you experience lies within. It is your inner movement, your felt state of consciousness, that gives rise to the effects you call reality. The secret is astonishingly simple. Your world is yourself pushed out. You walk through your own inner conversations, clothed in people and events. Every encounter, every triumph, every trial, these are mirrors reflecting the state you most consistently occupy within. And if you would change the outer, you must first change the inner. Do not be deceived by appearances. They are shadows cast by past imaginal acts. And so if you wish to shape a new destiny, you must turn from what your senses report and enter the silence, there to feel the reality of your desire as though it were already true. For feeling is the secret key. Not idle wishing, not hopeful pleading, but the bold assumption that what you desire is already yours. You need no intermediary, no outer ritual, no permission from the world. You are the operant power. The law responds not to lip service, but to your innermost conviction. So dare to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Rest in that state, walk in that state, and persist in that state, and the world will reshuffle itself to mirror your new cause. This is not theory, this is law, divine law, immutable and exact, as certain as gravity. What you dare to imagine and sustain with feeling must come to pass, for imagination is the only cause. The inner movement, the unseen act, is the true genesis of everything you experience. Test it. Take a desire, a true desire, one that burns quietly in your heart, and bring it into the present moment. See it, hear it, touch it in the theater of your mind, and then feel it. Enter the scene until it feels real. Fall asleep in it. Walk your days in it. Return to it when doubt comes knocking, and in time, without striving, without struggle, what was once imaginal will become factual. It cannot fail. Every event in your life has its root in an imaginal act. The world is but the echo of your inner voice. Change the voice, change the world. For consciousness is the one and only reality, and your assumption, your belief, your feeling, these are the seeds you plant in the field of the divine. So, plant with care, imagine with love, and know that the law is always working, always producing after its kind. Whether in ignorance or in wisdom, we are always sowing, and what we sow, we shall surely reap. Now understand this, the outer world is not causative. It is not the source of your joy or your sorrow. It is not the origin of your luck or misfortune. It is the reflection. It is the print of the mold cast within you. And the mold is your state of consciousness. The divine law of cause and effect is not something distant, not some ancient commandment etched in stone. It is here now. In every breath you take, in every idea you entertain and accept as true. This law is divine because it never errs. It does not judge. It does not discriminate. It simply reflects. Imagine a mirror. The mirror does not ask whether your expression is good or bad, happy or sorrowful. It simply reflects what is before it. So it is with this law. Your dominant feelings, your assumptions, your imaginal acts, they form the pattern that the world must express. If you live in the feeling of lack, of fear, of limitation, then lack will surround you, fear will chase you, and limitation will manifest as fact. Not because you are being punished, but because you are powerful. You see, power is not given to a few. It is bestowed upon all, for it is inherent in consciousness itself. The moment you become aware, you are invested with this divine ability to imagine, to feel, to assume, and thereby to create. You may not have known you were using it, but you were. Every time you said, "This always happens to me," and it did, there was your proof. Every time you felt unworthy and found yourself passed over, overlooked, dismissed, that was the law in motion, honoring your inner decree. But once you awaken to this truth, once you realize that your inner conversations are causal, everything changes. You begin to take dominion over your thoughts, not by force, but by awareness. You begin to ask yourself, not what do I want, but what would I feel if it were already mine? How would I walk? How would I speak? How would I carry myself if I truly believed it done? And then you dwell in that feeling, you nurture it, you persist in it, and the world must respond. It has no choice. The universe is not arbitrary. It is lawful, it is precise, and it bends not to your words, but to your inner state. So many ask, how long must I wait? But that is the wrong question. Time is not the master, time is the servant. Your job is not to watch the clock, but to dwell in the state, to remain faithful to your imaginal act. For the seed does not sprout because you dug it up every day to see if it was growing. It sprouts because you planted it, watered it, and trusted the process. So it is with this divine law. Persist in the assumption that your desire is fulfilled, and the outer world will rearrange itself to bring it forth. But beware the temptation to speak against your desire. Do not cancel your inner work with careless words. Do not say nothing ever works out for me, and then wonder why the doors remain closed. Your words are born of your inner state, and your state is the cause of all. If you would change your speech, change your feeling. Enter a new mood, a new inner climate, and the words will change effortlessly. You may say, but I don't feel wealthy, I don't feel loved, I don't feel healthy. Then I tell you, that is precisely where the work begins. Not by changing the world, but by changing the self. Go within, shut the door, turn away from what is, and enter into the imaginal scene of your desire fulfilled. Make it so vivid, so rich with sensory detail that you lose yourself in it. See what you would see, hear what you would hear, touch what you would touch. Let it be real, real enough to move you emotionally. For emotion is the fuel of creation. It is not enough to visualize. You must feel. You must move into the state of the wish fulfilled and make your home there. Not visit it as a guest, but dwell there as a resident. Speak from it, think from it, act from it. And soon, what was once inner will become outer. What was once unseen will stand before you in concrete reality. This is not daydreaming, this is not fantasy, this is divine law. This is how creation works, whether we understand it or not. Your imagination is not idle. It is the very workshop of God. And every time you assume a thing to be true, whether good or bad, you set in motion unseen forces that crystallize that assumption into fact. So if you find yourself living in unwanted conditions, do not condemn yourself, do not despair, simply revise. Go within and change the cause. Do not fight the effect, transcend it. See yourself as already free, already joyful, already prosperous, and hold that vision with love and faith, knowing that it must become your experience. There is no limit to what you can create, save the limits you accept. The world will tell you to be realistic. It will caution you not to expect too much. But reality is not fixed. Reality is fluid. It is a mirror, not a master. And when you change the image you hold within, the mirror must reflect it. This is the power that has been entrusted to you, not to beg, not to wish, but to assume and feel and create. Ask yourself now, what am I imagining? What am I entertaining in the theater of my mind? What story am I telling myself when no one is watching? For that is the story you are writing into your world. And if you would write a new chapter, you must begin by writing a new script. You cannot plant corn and reap wheat. The law does not mock you. It gives to each according to their inner state. Not what they say, not what they hope, but what they truly believe and feel themselves to be. So dare to believe differently. Dare to imagine more nobly. Dare to feel yourself into the life you desire. Even now, as I speak, you can begin, right where you are. You don't need anything outside you to start. You don't need approval or money or perfect circumstances. You need only one thing: your willingness to assume the feeling of your desire fulfilled. That is the golden key, that is the door. It may seem too simple, too easy, but the truth is always simple. It is our doubt, our conditioning, our fear that complicates it. We have been taught to worship the external, to chase results, to seek validation, but those things are echoes, they are effects. Return to the cause. Return to yourself. Begin to treat your imagination as sacred, not a place of idle fantasy, but the holy place of creation, the very womb of reality. What you accept there with feeling will be born here in time. And once it is born, do not say, "I knew this would happen." Say instead, "It is just as I imagined." And keep imagining, keep refining, keep elevating your inner world, for the outer will always follow the inner. It cannot do otherwise. This is the divine law, unwavering and eternal. You are not a victim of chance, nor a pawn in the hands of fate. You are the master of your destiny, the author of your story, the creator of your world. Let others call it coincidence, luck, serendipity. You will know the truth. You will have unlocked the secret. And the secret is not hidden. It is whispered in your heart every time you dare to dream. Every time you close your eyes and feel the reality of a better life. That is the voice of the divine within you, calling you home to yourself. So go now, not to do more, but to be more. Be still, be aware, be faithful to the unseen, and let the seen follow, for it must. It is law. You see, the law does not ask whether your desire is small or large, simple or complex. It responds to the nature of your assumption, to the depth of your belief. If you can feel it real, if you can enter the state and remain there, regardless of what the senses may scream, the law will not fail you. It never has, it never will. It is not a respecter of persons, it is a respecter of states. And every state contains within it the seeds of its own fulfillment. Doubt, then, is not an external force working against you. It is simply a shift of state. You leave the state of the wish fulfilled and enter into the state of not yet, not now, maybe never. And so the outer reflects that new state, but just as easily you may return. You may walk right back into the state of your desire. You may reclaim it with nothing more than a shift in feeling, a movement in imagination. Do not wait for permission to believe. Do not seek signs in the world before you allow yourself to feel what you long for. That is placing effect before cause. That is trying to see your reflection smile before you smile yourself. The cause is always within. The inner movement must precede the outer manifestation. You may say, "But I have assumed, and still I see nothing." Then I ask you, have you truly assumed, or have you merely hoped? Have you dwelled in the state, or only visited it occasionally? Have you persisted, or have you allowed appearances to rob you of your faith? For persistence is the fire that burns away all opposition. It is not the occasional assumption that bears fruit, but the sustained one. You are not being tested by some external judge. You are being invited to learn the laws of your own being. You are being shown that your every thought is a seed, your every feeling a mold. And when that seed is watered with repetition and belief, when that mold is held in the stillness of faith, it must take form. Even your reactions are creative. What you accept as true of yourself and of others, what you consent to emotionally, these become the patterns of your life. Do not judge by appearances, but judge righteous judgment. That is, judge not according to what is, but according to what you desire to see made manifest. If someone mistreats you, imagine them differently. If a situation oppresses you, revise it in your mind's eye. For all things are flexible, all conditions are subject to change. Nothing is fixed unless you persist in imagining it so. That is the wonder and the responsibility of this divine gift, the gift of imagination. You may enslave yourself with it, or you may set yourself free. You have been told, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he." That is not poetic language, it is spiritual law. The heart in that teaching refers not to emotion alone, but to belief, the deep inner conviction of what is true. If you think yourself poor, unloved, incapable, then life will affirm that belief again and again, not to punish, but to reflect. And the moment you think otherwise, the moment you dare to assume that you are rich in spirit, deeply loved and divinely capable, the mirror must change. It cannot hold the old reflection when you are no longer standing there. So move, shift, imagine again. Take your attention away from what is and give it fully to what can be, what already is in the unseen realm of imagination. That unseen realm is not less real, it is more real, for it is cause. It is the womb of creation. Every great life, every miracle, every sudden change began as an imaginal act. You may not have seen the imagining, but it was there. Nothing comes into being uncaused. The divine does not play dice with the universe. What you see now is simply harvest. If you do not like what grows in your field, do not curse the fruit, change the seed. You are never stuck. No matter how permanent your situation may seem, you are simply standing in a state, and all states are movable. You may shift this very moment. You may rise out of limitation and into liberty by assuming a new feeling. There is no process more sacred, no ritual more powerful, no ceremony more effective than the still, quiet act of imagining differently. This is the true temple, not one built with hands, but the inner sanctuary of your awareness. Here in the silence, in the secrecy of your own being, is where creation begins. No one may see you do it, no one may applaud or affirm you, but soon the results will speak for themselves. And the world will say, "How did this happen?" And you will know. You will smile not because you were lucky, but because you were faithful to the unseen. Do not measure your ability by what you have done before. Do not limit yourself to the facts of the past. The past is but a memory, held alive only by your attention. Withdraw that attention. Free yourself from its weight. The only moment that creates is now, and now you are free to assume whatever state you choose. Choose wisely, choose boldly, do not shrink before your desires. They are not foolish, they are not excessive. They are messages from the deeper part of you, the divine part, whispering what is possible. Trust them, honor them, step into them in imagination, and claim them as already yours. Others may not understand, that is fine. You are not required to convince them. The law does not need consensus to function. It only needs your assumption, your inner consent. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, when you feel it to be real, the world begins to echo that state in 1,000 ways. Doors open, people show up, ideas come, things shift, and you stand at the center of it all. Not as a spectator, but as a creator. Not as one who waits, but as one who commands. Not with force, but with faith. Faith is not blind. Faith sees what the eyes cannot. It sees through the lens of the fulfilled desire. It walks as if, speaks as if, lives as if, and thereby calls the unseen into visibility. When you have faith in this divine law, you no longer fear appearances. You no longer react with panic or doubt. You know that what you see is old news, echoes of imaginations past, and you know with quiet certainty that a new echo is forming even now from your present assumption. So ask yourself, what am I assuming now? Not yesterday, not last year, now. For now is all there is, and from now flows every future. Are you assuming life is hard, that money is scarce, that love is distant? Then that shall be your experience, not because it must be, but because you are imagining it so. But you can choose again. You can assume that life is for you, that abundance flows freely, that love surrounds you and rises within you. You can walk in that state long before the evidence arrives, and in doing so, you call it into being. Do not let the delay fool you. Every assumption fulfilled has its own gestation. A rose and an oak tree grow at different paces, but both respond to the law. Trust the seed, trust the process. Persist without strain, live in the end, and let the means unfold. You do not need to know how, that is not your domain. You only need to know that it is so, that it is already done, that the unseen cause is now active and the effect will follow. This is the secret. This is the great mystery unveiled. You are not separate from the divine, you are an expression of it. And the power that formed the stars now works through your imagination. Use it with love, use it with awareness, use it to bless, to uplift, to create beauty in your world and the world of others. This law is not here to bind you, it is here to set you free, to remind you of what you truly are, not flesh and bone alone, but spirit clothed in form. And your spirit, your imagination, is the sacred workshop in which worlds are made. The door is always open, the moment is always now. The law is always listening. The law does not sleep. It is not activated only when you concentrate or when you make a deliberate effort. It is working at all times, faithfully echoing the state you occupy, whether that state was entered with intention or by unconscious habit. This is why it is said, "Watch ye therefore, watch what you allow yourself to feel, watch what you consent to be true. For what you consent to, you become." And the great tragedy is not that people imagine too boldly, it is that they imagine too small, too passively, too fearfully. They believe more in the evidence of their senses than in the power of their inner world. But the senses are not the source of truth, they are the shadows cast by earlier imaginings. To live by the senses alone is to drift like a leaf on the wind, carried by conditions you unknowingly created. But when you turn within and begin to live from the imagination, from the inner conviction that your desire is already yours, you take back your creative power. You become a conscious participant in your unfolding destiny. You are no longer driven, you are directing. You are no longer at the mercy of the world, you are shaping it. This is the divine law of cause and effect, that every inner movement creates a corresponding outer movement, that the world is yourself, written in form, and that to change the world you need not beg or strive or compete, you need only to assume a new state, to feel the reality of your ideal and persist in that feeling. Persistence is the secret ingredient. To assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled once and then return to doubt is like planting a seed and then digging it up. But to dwell in the state, to return to it again and again, to live from it until it becomes your natural home, this is the true creative act. And you do not need effort to persist, only love. If you truly love the feeling of your desire fulfilled, you will return to it often. You will dwell in it as in a sacred space. You will wear it like a robe, soft and familiar, and the world in response will yield to your inner conviction. You need not force change in others. You need not battle circumstances. The only change you ever need to make is within yourself. And when you change, everything changes. For the world is a mirror, and it cannot reflect anything except what you are imagining it to be. This is why resentment, blame, and bitterness are such dangerous companions. Not because they are immoral, but because they are creative. They fix your attention on unwanted states, and in doing so they perpetuate them. But when you forgive, when you let go of the old story and imagine a new, you dissolve the past and create a new cause. And the new effect must follow. You are always standing at a threshold, always holding the power to imagine a better life, a freer version of yourself. But you must enter the state to know its fruit, not wish for it, not admire it from afar, but live in it, dwell in it, be it. For being is the only true knowing. To say I am and follow it with truth, with conviction, is to call that truth into form. If you say I am successful and feel it, believe it, rest in it, then success must find you. If you say I am loved and let that feeling saturate your being, then love must reflect itself in your world. The divine does not delay because it is cruel. It does not withhold because it is testing you. It gives instantly to your state of consciousness. The delay you experience is only the time it takes for the outer to catch up with the inner, but the change happens at once. The moment you shift your state, the harvest begins. You may not see it immediately, but it is done. And so you walk in faith, not because you are blind, but because you have seen the truth with inner vision. You have felt the reality of the thing you desire, and now you walk as if it were already so. That is faith, that is power, that is alignment with the divine law. No condition is permanent unless you declare it so. No pattern repeats unless you feed it with your attention. The moment you say, "No more," and turn within to assume a new state, the old must begin to dissolve. It may resist, it may linger, but it cannot hold. The light of a new assumption is too powerful for the shadows of the past. Do not ask the world to be different. Ask yourself, what am I assuming about this? And then change the assumption. If you see someone as hostile, imagine them kind. If you feel poor, imagine abundance. If you feel stuck, imagine freedom. For every change you make within will eventually write itself upon the screen of space. And what is space? It is nothing but imagination made visible. It is the stage upon which your assumptions play out. Your world is not separate from you, it is you, projected outward, mirrored back. You do not live in a world, you live through it. And you walk among your own thoughts, dressed in form. So choose your thoughts well, choose your inner conversations with care, for what you repeat in the silence of your mind becomes the loudest echo in your life. Speak to yourself as one who is already what they long to be. Think from your desire, not of it. Feel from its fulfillment, not toward it. This is the great art, the art of imagining. It is not idle fantasy, it is divine instruction. Every prophet, every sage, every awakened soul has known this secret, that imagination is God in action, that what you dare to claim in the inner world will one day stand firm in the outer. But it begins with you. Not with the world, not with the others, with you. With your decision to believe, your choice to assume, your willingness to persist. So go now, not to strive, not to plead, not to wish, but to assume. Go in the stillness of your being. Close your eyes and see what your heart longs to see. Feel what your soul longs to feel, and rest there. Rest in the truth that the divine law is already at work, that the effect is on its way, because the cause has already been planted. You are not waiting on life, life is waiting on you. And if ever you forget, if the world overwhelms you with its noise, remember this: the silence within is your sanctuary. It is not emptiness, it is fullness, alive with infinite potential. When the noise outside becomes too loud, retreat into yourself, not to escape, but to create. Go there not to beg, but to know, to remember who you are. You are not a prisoner of your past. You are not the result of statistics or predictions or others' expectations. You are not the labels you've worn nor the failures you've feared. You are cause clothed in form. You are the unseen made visible. And what you now choose to accept as true of yourself, that is the next chapter of your life. So make the inner world more real than the outer. Feel more deeply about what you desire than what you fear. If your body feels sick, imagine it whole. If your bank account is low, imagine it full. Not as a childish game, not as denial, but as the highest form of faith. Faith is imagination set to motion with certainty. It is knowing beyond all appearances that the unseen is greater than the seen. And in this knowing, everything bends. Even the hardest conditions, even the most long-standing patterns, yield to the steady, confident assumption that they are already changed, that you are already changed, that your world is already reflecting your new state, because it must. The law is divine because it does not change. It has never failed and never will. It is the same yesterday, today, and forever. It is written into the fabric of being, vibrating in every cell of existence, echoing in every breath you take. You are never apart from it. You cannot be. You are it, expressing itself in time. So let go of effort. Let go of waiting. Begin to accept now, not later, not when the outer matches, but now, when it matters most. The moment you feel it real, you claim dominion. You say to the world, I am not waiting to see, I see, and therefore it shall be. Others may call you foolish. They may ask, where is it? Where's the proof? But you need not prove a thing. Your knowing is enough. Your assumption is the seed, and in time when the fruit appears, they will forget they doubted. Or they will ask for your secret, and you will know it was never outside of you, it was always within. Every transformation begins in silence, in stillness, in the unseen place where you choose again. Choose to be. Choose to feel. Choose to walk as the one you desire to be. And the law, faithful, obedient, exact, will mirror that choice in every detail of your life. If you fall, if you doubt, if you slip into old patterns, do not condemn yourself, do not reinforce the state you wish to leave. Simply rise again, assume again, feel again. The law does not punish, it only reflects. You are always free to move, free to shift, free to create anew. So, saturate yourself with the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Let it fill your words, your thoughts, your gestures. Speak as one who already knows. Smile as one who has already received. Not because you are pretending, but because you are awakening to the truth. The truth that you are one with the creative power of the universe, and it moves at the command of your assumption. This is why imagination is holy, why it must be treated not as a daydream, but as a sacred act. You are shaping substance with every scene you construct, with every feeling you entertain. You are not hoping, you are creating. And creation begins with the inner vision sustained by inner conviction. Do not wait for conditions to give you permission. They will never come. The world does not tell you who you are. You tell it. And when you finally decide, when you finally stand in the knowing of your own power, the world must rearrange to make room for the new version of you. Your relationships will change, your finances will shift, your health will align, not by chance, not by force, but by the law. You change the cause, and the effect, faithful and sure, follows. The change may come in ways you do not expect. Let it. Do not limit the law to your logic. Do not demand it come by the method you chose. Your only task is to remain faithful to the end you have imagined. The how is not your burden. The how is the domain of the unseen forces that obey your state. So be unwavering, be still, be bold, and if fear visits you, speak to it. Say, I know who I am, I know what I have assumed. I know what I have felt to be true, and so it is. Let your faith be louder than your fear. Let your vision be stronger than your senses. Do not argue with the old world. Simply outgrow it. Do not resist the past. Revise it. In your imagination, rewrite the scene. Make it right. Let it heal. Let it align with your ideal. For imagination is not bound by time. It redeems, it resurrects, it reorders all things according to your assumption. You are not just a participant in life. You are the initiator. You begin the motion. You set the tone. You are the origin, not the echo. And the more you assume this truth, the more your life will reflect the majesty and power that has always been yours. So walk gently, but with power. Speak softly, but with conviction. Live quietly, but with vision. Let your inner world become so rich, so clear, so real, that the outer has no choice but to mirror it. And when it does, you will not be surprised, you will not wonder how, You will smile with peace, with knowing, and simply say, "Of course." And even now, as these words reach you, something within is stirring, a quiet recognition. Not because these truths are new to you, but because they were always there, waiting to be remembered. This divine law is not foreign to your being. It is your being. It does not need to be understood intellectually to be used. It only needs to be accepted and lived. There is no distance between you and your desire. The only thing that stands between you and what you seek is a state. And states are not earned, they are chosen. At any moment you may choose again. You may step out of the identity of lack and into the identity of fulfillment. You may leave the shadow and step into the light. You do this not by willpower, but by feeling, by assuming the state and letting it claim you from within. The moment you assume a new state, you begin to think new thoughts. You speak in a new tone. You radiate a new energy. You attract different outcomes, not by striving, not by effort, but by law. The world reflects back what you are, not what you want. And so, wanting changes nothing. Being changes everything. And this is why so many struggle. They continue to want, to hope, to plead, but they do not step into the state. They wait for the world to give them permission to feel the thing they long for. But the law does not respond to waiting. It responds to feeling. It responds to assumption. It responds to the one who dares to say, "I am," even when the senses scream otherwise. Can you walk as one who is already healed, even when the body still aches? Can you speak as one who is already free, even when the cage still rattles? Can you bless your world even when it seems barren, knowing that your blessing is planting the cause of your next harvest? This is the secret of the great ones. Not that they had more power than you, but that they believed. They turned within and stayed there. They refused to accept appearances as final. They walked in imagination more than in memory. They practiced the feeling of fulfillment until the world bowed to their vision. And so can you. Imagination is not escape. It is direction. It is the divine blueprint from which reality unfolds. When you imagine with feeling, you are not creating a fantasy, you are creating a spiritual prototype. And the law, which never fails, will give it flesh in its time. But you must not let doubt erode your state. Doubt is not something to fight, it is something to transcend. You do not defeat doubt with struggle. You defeat it by returning to the state of knowing, by feeling the end again and again until it becomes your dwelling place. Live from the end, not toward it, not hoping for it from it. Every time you speak, ask yourself, am I speaking from the fulfilled state or from the unfulfilled one? Every time you act, ask, am I acting as the one who has or the one who lacks? The answers will show you your state, and your state is your cause. You cannot trick the law with words. You cannot say one thing and feel another and expect results. It is not the statement that creates, it is the assumption behind the statement. You may say, I am wealthy 1,000 times, but if you feel lack, the law hears your feeling, not your words. But if you say it once and feel it, believe it, know it, then the seed is sown. The world will test that seed, not to destroy it, but to strengthen your conviction. Do not be shaken. The storm comes only to reveal the firmness of your foundation. If you hold to your state, even when appearances contradict it, you will see what few allow themselves to see, the law bending reality around your assumption. And then you will know that nothing was ever outside you. The people, the money, the answers, the opportunities, they all moved in response to the silent music you played within. You became the cause, and the world became the echo. And then life becomes different. No longer are you tossed about by circumstance. You move with purpose, not panic. You respond with calm, not confusion. Because you know deeply, unwaveringly, that you are not reacting to life, you are creating it. You may not control every event, but you control the cause. You may not choose the sequence of how things arrive, but you choose the state from which they come. And when you hold the state, the sequence arranges itself. So begin now, not tomorrow, not after things improve, now. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled now. Let it wrap around you like a coat. Let it become more real than the chair you sit on. Let it be your atmosphere, your breath, your home. The more you dwell in that state, the more the world must conform. It is law, it is certain, it is exact. The universe is not random, it is precise. It does not operate on chance, but on correspondence. Your inner state is the blueprint, and reality is the building. Do not concern yourself with tearing down the old. Simply build the new. The old will dissolve on its own. When the light comes, the darkness vanishes. When the new state is stable, the old state loses its power. So, stabilize yourself in your chosen state. Return to it often. Visit it in imagination until it becomes your default reality, until your reactions, your words, your energy align with it naturally. And soon, what was once only felt will be seen, what was once only imagined will be lived, and the world will seem changed, not because it changed, but because you did. And when you change, everything follows. And so, as you walk forward from this moment, remember, there is no power outside of you greater than the one within you. You are the cause clothed in form. You are the imaginer, the dreamer, the operant power. The world is not waiting to bless you, it is waiting to reflect you. Assume the highest, the noblest, the most beautiful version of yourself, and hold to it with unwavering faith. Feel it real, live from the end, and the law perfect and sure will not fail to bring it forth. All things are possible now. All things are yours now. Simply claim them in the silence by the law, and it is done.